Hi guys, welcome to the next lesson on natural selection and including the founder effect, genetic drift and genetic flow. Again, under Area of Study 1, Outcome 1, how are species related? So the specifics of today, we're going to be looking at the last three lines of the dot point, where we're looking at pressures on phenotypes and the mechanism of natural selection, including gene flow, genetic drift, such as bottleneck and founder effects, and biological consequences of such, in terms of evolution and, in terms of reduced genetic diversity. So, a population, we have alleles and their variant forms of the gene, as we discussed before, and these can be changing over time through a number of mechanisms. We already discussed mutations and chromosome abnormalities, and now today we're going to be talking about how allele frequency can change through natural selection, genetic flow, and genetic drift. So, natural selection, well, what is it? Well, the definition is the process by which new heritable traits, so morphological, so structural, physiological, or behavioral, evolve and persist in a population. So what we have over here is we had a population of red and orange and yellow counters. After selection, we have only the red, so the final population is going to consist only of the reds. Again, over here, here's an example of natural selection. We have a grey background shown here. We have grey mice and white mice. There's a hawk. That hawk will more easily or more often pick out the white mice, so the white mice are predated on more often than the grey mice because they do not camouflage. The white mice do not camouflage. Over time, these grey mice are selected for in terms of they're the ones that persist, they rise to adulthood and they reproduce, which means their genes remain in the population. So the process by which we're choosing a physiological characteristic for it to persist in the population. So this is the process by which natural selection occurs, and I've already gone through a little bit of this, but we have individuals that are unique from one another. So we have the white mice and the grey mice. They have different genotypes. These variations are caused by mutations, which are inheritable. So pass from one offspring to the other, or pass from mother to father, or father to daughter, etc. The more offspring are born that can survive into mature age to reproduce. So the grey mice are more likely to survive. They're more likely to reproduce. Therefore, they're more likely to be the resulting population at the end after the hawk has predated on them. And obviously, as we already said, some individuals have traits that make them better suited to the environment, therefore more able to survive, therefore more favourable of those alleles to persist in the population. So that's the summary of natural selection. Now we've got gene flow. Now gene flow is where you have a collection of alleles in the population, and those can change when individuals join the population from a different gene pool or when some leave. So this is about migration of alleles. So here's our initial gene pool. We have one over here, that particular allele, that particular beetle moves over there. So it's about migration, which will be emigration and immigration will be your two types of migration that can occur. Genetic drift, so that talks about unpredictable changes, so random chance events that occur in a population and that results in a change in the allele frequency. So for example, here's a population. Some of those bugs are squashed or killed by chance, they've been stepped on. That will change the allele frequency. We now have more brown coloured beetles compared to green coloured beetles. So therefore these alleles persist in the population. Again, over here, another example, the frequency of the alleles, there's a chance event, an extinction, a comet hits them, they die off for some reason, that will change the frequency of the alleles, and the new population now has different frequencies. So initially we began with a quarter for each, and now we have 45% of the blue allele and 25% of the purple and 30% of the green. No yellow left. Another form of genetic drift is the bottleneck effect. So this is where we have a chance event on allele frequencies in a population as a result of major reduction in population size. So here's our original population. For some reason, they go through a mass extinction and only a few individuals survive, and that surviving population has a reduced genetic diversity. So you can see clearly that there's less alleles than what we began with, and that means that those allele frequencies have changed, obviously. Another form of genetic drift is the founder effect. So here we have an ancestral population or initial gene pool, and those individuals, or some of those individuals, move to a new place where there was none of those alleles previously. So they're colonizers or the founders of that population. So as the founders, the allele frequency is different to the original population because there may be only a few alleles that have migrated to that new population. So over here you can see a particular number of founders have moved, new population. Now we have predominantly blue and yellow, whereas before we had blue, yellow, green. So chance events, allele frequencies have changed, and because of small unrepresentative sample from a large population have moved to a new area. So these are the key IDs. Natural selection is the changing of allele frequencies in a population. Genetic drift is the changing of allele frequencies in a population, which is specifically due to chance events, such as a bottleneck effect or founder effect, and genetic flow is the changing of alleles in a population, due to migration. These are the key terms that you need to know at the end of this lesson, and this is the success criteria, what you should be able to do. Describe natural selection using an example, and describe the ways in which allele frequencies change through genetic drift, genetic flow, and mutations, obviously, from the previous lesson. Thanks for watching.